Video 5, small ball, Pro 1, we're going to take a look at the 60 out and the 60 in. Now, the information that you're going to get on the 60s is going to be a little bit different than what you normally get, because I'm not going to take you out into space with the parallax line. I'm going to leave you on the object ball. Instead of moving the parallax line to just inside of the outer object ball edge by 1/16 of an inch, we're just going to work with the very outer edge of the object ball. This is going to be a field shot. And so what you're going to do is establish your visual as your parallax line as being from this inside tick here of the small ball to the outer edge of the object ball. Now this is an outside. I'm playing it as an outside. It is an outside 60. So normally though, the parallax line is out in space a little bit. So there's an adjustment that's going to have to happen here. So this is the technique that you can learn, which I will discuss more when we get to the Master Series in 2023. So I know that for a true 60 outside and a true 60 inside, I have two arm slots that I'm familiar with. I have an outside slot, and then I have an inside slot. So there's a couple of arm slot lines that go with this right eye here. So I'm not going to think about changing the visual so much. I mean, I could, but I'd like to keep my visual for this particular cue ball object ball relationship as constant as I possibly can. So where's my adjustment going to come? I'm just slightly going to pull my arm in toward my body a little bit more to create a little bit more of a cut angle if that needs to occur. So when I drop down on this outside sweep for this 60 outside, I'm picking up the inside edge of the small ball to the outside edge of the object ball, and I'm following right into my sweep. If I feel like I need an adjustment, I'm just going to pull my arm in slightly toward my body. That's it. That's an advanced technique that you can put in your arsenal. Because when you're using your CTE approach for edge-to-edge shots, you can certainly put that into play. For the next setup, which is a 60 inside, same thing. I'm going to keep the same parallax line. Inside tick to the outer edge of the object ball. And this time I'm going to do an inside sweep. I'm going to come around this way, and if I need to adjust, and I probably will for sure, I'm just going to pull my cue in a little bit more toward my body out of the familiar arm slot that I would normally have for a 60 inside. That's where I make my adjustment. So, to just sort of wrap this up a little bit, small ball is a very, very strong training technique that will help you to improve your parallax viewing. Because you'll just be able to see it easier. What you will do is you will start imagining a small ball that exists within the context of this larger ball. So, and furthermore, to wrap this up, when you're working with visuals, like this 15 out, I can start with the aim line if I want to. That's typical. That's typical as to what you start with, is the aim line. There's nothing wrong with starting with the sight line. So when you start with the aim line or the sight line, you're working from out to middle, outward to the inside, outward to middle. That's okay. I can look at this shot and I can start with the parallax line. I'm working from the middle to the out. So this parallax training that you're going through in this series is teaching you to work from middle to out. That's okay. What matters is that your end result is the perception, regardless of whether you start with the parallax line or the aim line or the sight line. Some shots I pick up the sight line first. Some shots I pick up the aim line first. Other shots I pick up the parallax line first. So if one of the lines, if one of those three lines are correct, then the other two are correct. So the better you get with your perceptions, I can just focus on the sight line here and I can know that the other lines are there. I can focus on the parallax line here, and at a very low level of subconsciousness or consciousness, I can know that the other two lines are there. So I can pick up the aim line, and my visual intelligence just intuitively knows that the parallax line and the sight line is in place. So it's like I explained in the book. It's like you can amplify whichever line you want to. You can amplify all the lines, but when you do that, you eat up a lot of brain power. So when you can work with one line, such as the parallax line here, you're not eating up a lot of brain power. But it doesn't take a lot of brain power to see the parallax line and then the sight line, or the aim line, sight line, and then parallax. But there comes a point to where you don't need to use the brain power. You work from the perspective or the point of view of efficiency. What will create the least path of resistance for you mentally, visually, and physically for achieving the outcome that you desire. So it's been, once again, it's been a real pleasure for me to present this to you. I want to thank Hal Hool, whom we all dearly know of and love, for his development of the small ball concept. I've sort of pulled that out to use as a parallax training aid. So I hope you'll find this video series very useful, and I'm pulling for you to develop your centered edge aiming skills as much as you possibly can. See you next series.